The earth trembled beneath Leif's feet as he sprinted through the dense forest, his heart pounding like a tribal drum. With each leap over twisted roots and fallen branches, an ominous whisper followed closely behind, an unseen force tracking his every move. His breath came in ragged gasps, fogging the crisp morning air. Panic clawed at his insides, but he couldn't afford to stop. Not now. His hand instinctively clutched the tattered leather pouch at his side, brushing against the cold metal within, the crown. The very thing that set the forest alive with tremors. Leif didn't understand its power yet, nor the danger it posed, but he knew it beckoned him with its cold, unyielding presence. What once was hidden now demanded to be found, to be wielded. "You can't escape, fool," a voice echoed, chilling as winter's breath. Leif quickened his pace, ignoring the mocking voice of the unknown pursuer. The trees seemed to close in around him, their shadows reaching out like dark talons. His feet slipped on a moss-covered stone, sending him sprawling to the ground where the air knocked forcefully from his lungs. He lay there, gasping, knowing his frantic flight was futile. But as despair crept in, a gentle warmth enveloped him, a small ember of comfort flaring in his palm. It was the crown, glowing faintly with a life of its own. He sat up slowly, cradling the crown in his hands. Suddenly, a flash of brilliant light erupted from the crown's heart, blinding in its glory. When his vision cleared, a figure loomed before him. A majestic phoenix, its feathers alight in crimson and gold, shimmered in the clearing. Its eyes burned with intelligence and defiance. "Your journey begins now, Leif," the phoenix's voice chimed, resonating with the vibrancy of 1,000 harmonies. Leif blinked in disbelief. I've never heard a phoenix speak." "And I've never met a human quite like you," the phoenix replied, lowering its head gracefully. "Do you have the courage to unravel the secrets of the Serpent's crown?" The challenge lingered in the air, and in that moment, with the forest quiet and the crown pulsing in his grasp, Leif knew he couldn't turn back. Leif stood in the clearing, his breathing finally steadied. The phoenix's gaze bore into him, deep and affirming. He shook his head to clear his thoughts and finally found his voice, shaky but resolute. "I'm ready," he declared, though his heart skipped a beat at the enormity of the task. With a nod from the phoenix, Leif felt a surge of warmth spread through him, bolstering his resolve and lending strength to limbs. "Then follow me," the phoenix replied, flapping its wings once before gracefully taking to the sky. Leif set his eyes on their path, cautious but driven. Each step he took through the forest felt lighter, as if the crown itself guided his movements. They ventured deeper into lands unseen, towards the heart of the realm where the darkness seeped like a festering wound. As hours passed, they arrived at an ancient glade, bathed in twilight's glow. Towering above them was the entrance to a hollow cavern, swirling with emerald and azure lights. Leif paused at its threshold, the fear bubbling up again. The phoenix perched on a weathered stone nearby. "This is where you will find your first ally, another key to unlocking the crown's mysteries," it explained. "But be forewarned, the fae you seek is as tempestuous as the winds themselves." "A fae?" Leif repeated, frowning. The stories he'd heard about the fae were filled with mischievous illusions and trickery. He swallowed hard. Will they even agree to help? The phoenix tilted its head, a teasing spark in its eye. Who can truly say? Their heart is a tangled weave of light and shadow, but know this, all creatures sense the change in the air, the encroaching malevolence. Some may act for their own reasons, but it aligns with your cause. Leif hesitated, doubts gnawing at him, but he steeled himself and stepped forward. As he crossed the threshold, shimmering lights enveloped him, swallowing him into the hollow's depths. Inside, Leif found himself in another world, one overflowing with vibrant hues and dancing light. And there, at the heart of this enchanted place, floated the fae, imperious, golden-skinned, and sharp-eyed, watching him with a mixture of curiosity and disdain. "You've come far for mere mortal, haven't you?" the fae teased, a wry smile playing at their lips. Leif nodded. "I need your help to restore balance to our world." The fae's laughter rang like silver bells. "The world, you say? Or perhaps just your sense of duty?" For a moment, silence stretched between them like a taut string. Then, the fae's expression softened ever so slightly, though their eyes remained sparkling and calculating. "Very well, Herbalist. Show me the crown, and then we shall decide if your cause is worth pursuing." Leif gingerly unclasped the leather pouch, revealing the crown's ancient and intricate metalwork. It shimmered under the glistening lights, its aura pulsing gently. The Fae floated closer, their wings aglow with a kaleidoscope of colors as they inspected the artifact with keen interest. A curious thing forged by dragons, the Fae mused, tracing a finger over its delicate engravings. And you, a mere human, are charged with its fate? Leif nodded, feeling a strange mix of pride and responsibility. I'm determined to see this through. Will you aid me? Can we break the sorceress's hold on the land? The Fae pondered deeply, eyes flickering with misguarded admiration. They glanced towards the phoenix, who waited patiently just beyond the cavern. Our world has grown perilous, the Fae admitted, and though mischief is my nature, I tire of this unchecked darkness that swallows everything vibrant and wild. Turning back to Leif, the Fae's wings fluttered, shining with renewed resolve. Very well, Herbalist. I shall join your quest, but let me make one thing clear. I am nobody's servant. We are equals in this endeavor. Leif smiled, relief flooding through him. Thank you. Together we might stand a chance. With a decisive flicker of light, the Fae descended and touched the ground for the first time. As they joined Leif, the crown shimmered as if acknowledging the new bond. The Fae gestured elegantly, producing a shimmering map crafted from strands of moonlight. Our next move is to confront the sorceress's minions who guard the scattered elements, the Fae instructed. These elements are vital to the crown's full awakening. Leif peered at the map, picking out places he knew only from whispered legends and half-remembered tales. Landslides, disappearances, villages razed to the ground, he murmured, connecting the dots in his mind. Yes, the Fae confirmed, light sparking in their eyes. We must gather the pieces and awaken the crown's true power, before the eclipsing shadow engulfs even the places untouched by its malevolence. The phoenix swooped down gracefully, joining them. Our journey is fraught with perils, but the alliance we've forged brings hope, it told them. Let us depart while daylight guides our path. Together, they set out from the luminous cavern, leaving behind the tranquil beauty of the glade. Step by step, they wove their way towards the heart of peril, each companion animated by purpose, a growing light against the gathering darkness. The world, alive with mythic wonders and unseen forces, watched as the trio embarked on their quest, a convergence of destinies that would either save an entire realm or condemn it to an eternal slumber. The sun crawled across the sky, painting the horizon with hues of amber and crimson as Leif, the phoenix, and the Fae approached the edge of the fractured plains. The terrain was treacherous, with sharp, jagged rocks jutting from the earth like the teeth of some ancient beast. Wind howled through the crevices, carrying whispers of the desolation that lay beyond. Keep close, the phoenix instructed, its voice steadying against the eerie solitude. The first element is near, but the sorceress's minions are ever vigilant. Leif tightened his grip on the crown, sensing the hidden power thrumming just beneath its surface. His heart raced, a mix of anticipation and fear. The Fae hovered beside him, eyes alight with mischief and determination. What exactly are we searching for? Leif asked, breaking the silence that had settled over their journey. An artifact known as the Ember Stone, the Fae replied, pointing towards a distant crevice where flames flickered unnaturally against the rocks. Its essence binds the fire of the dragons to our world. As they neared the crevice, shadows shifted, revealing grotesque figures guarding the precious stone, twisted creatures of smoke and ash, their eyes glowing with a cold, unfeeling malice. I'll handle them, the Fae declared, shimmering with energy. Stay behind and protect the crown. Without waiting for a response, the Fae launched into action, a dazzling blur of light and speed. Illusions sprang forth in their wake, disorienting the minions with mirrored images and blinding flashes. The phoenix flared its wings, sending waves of radiant heat toward the creatures, turning the very air into a tempest of fire. Leif stood back, clutching the crown tightly, his heart racing as the battle unfurled before him like a chaotic dance. With a final surge of power, the phoenix and Fae overwhelmed the last of the minions, leaving a path open to the Ember Stone at the heart of the crevice. Now, Leif, the Fae called out, beckoning him forward. Summoning all his courage, Leif dashed over uneven ground until he stood before the Ember Stone, its fiery glow casting his shadow long and fierce. As he reached out, The crown in his grasp pulsed with longing, singing a silent song of resonance. The moment his fingers brushed the stone, a surge of warmth coursed through him. The crown responded, its engravings igniting with the vibrance of a dragon's flame. For a fleeting instant, Leif felt the strength of ancient fire coursing through him. "You've done well," the phoenix murmured, awe in its voice. "We have taken the first step." Leif breathed deeply, feeling the change within, a warmth much like newfound courage. "One step closer to ending the darkness," he acknowledged, more certain than before. As the three companions retreated from the crevice, the shadows lengthened behind them, but their path glowed brighter, a beacon in the night, guiding them forward in their quest to awaken the Serpent's crown. The moon bathed the landscape in a silvery glow as Leif, the phoenix, and the Fae pressed onward, leaving the fractured plains behind. The path next led them to the Whispering Woods, a dense forest shrouded in mystery and tales of enchantment. Each step forward seemed to draw them deeper into a world half forgotten. The woods whispered secrets on the wind, playing tricks on the senses. Lush foliage swayed gently as if inviting them in. It was here the next element awaited, a gift of the earth known as the Veilstone, believed to hold the power of renewal and rebirth. "We must be cautious," warned the phoenix, landing softly on Leif's shoulder, feathers brushing lightly against him. "The sorceress will surely have left traps in these woods to deter us." The Fae nodded in agreement. "And you, herbalist, must trust your instincts. This forest is alive with magic, both wondrous and wicked." Leif inhaled deeply, trying to steady his nerves. Each inhalation brought the aroma of moss and ancient bark, the very essence of nature. With the crown now faintly glowing against his side, he felt an odd tingling, a pull deeper into the woods. As they advanced, time seemed to blur, the trees closing ranks behind them. Suddenly they halted, sensing a shift in the air. From the underbrush materialized a figure, ethereal and strange. An elderly sprite, shimmering softly with moss-green hair and gnarled hands. "You seek the Veilstone," the sprite rasped, eyes gleaming with lonely wisdom. "Will you sacrifice to protect this world?" Her voice echoed through the glen. Leif met her gaze, steely with resolve. "We will do what must be done to end the sorceress's dark reign." The sprite considered their words, her gaze deepening into something soft yet strong. "Then pass," she said, gesturing towards a glistening path revealed between the trees. "Beware, for trials of the heart lie ahead." Beyond the glade they navigated winding trails and ancient labyrinths of roots, always sensing the Veilstone's pull. When at last they arrived, it lay embedded at the base of the oldest tree, a heart of jade within the cradle of timeless roots. The Fae reached out first, drawing on its own innate connection to the forest to activate the stone's power. Slowly, the earth responded, resonating warmly within the depths. "Leif," the Fae beckoned, "claim the Veilstone and kindle the earth's renewal, but tread lightly. It requires compassion and respect." Leif stepped forward and placed a palm against the ancient tree, feeling its pulse echo up his arm. The crown glowed brightly as he touched the Veilstone, unleashing a wave of vibrant energy. Visions of lush fields and echoing laughter filled his mind, a world healed. With a solemn nod, the forest accepted their intention. The path unfurled back toward the edge of the woods, knowing well the power wound now course with him. As they emerged from the Whispering Woods, energy from the two collected elements rippled through Leif, strengthening the crown's bond. United in purpose, they ventured deeper into their journey, ever closer to breaking the hold of the dark forces shadowing their land. Leif and his companions, empowered by the elements of fire and earth, found themselves at the steep foothills of the Shivering Heights. The air here was thin and bitingly cold, each breath a visible puff against the backdrop of towering icy peaks. Somewhere amidst these brutal landscapes lay the next element, the Gale Shard, infused with the essence of the winds. The wind howled mournfully around them, as if driven wild by the looming presence of the sorceress's minions. Leif braced himself against the chill, pulling his cloak tighter and steeling his resolve. "Our climb will be arduous," the phoenix warned, its wings glistening with frost as it hovered beside them. "But we are stronger than the storm, bonded by the crown and our unity." The Fae shimmered, its light warm despite the wintry setting. "Let your spirit anchor you, herbalist. The wind is fickle, but it knows when to guide those who seek pure intent." They began their ascent, navigating narrow ledges and brittle ice that threatened to betray their footing. The shivering heights towered unforgivingly above, each peak obscured by swirling mists and threatening avalanches. As they climbed, shadows loomed against the ice, grotesque figures of cold, blue sculpted by the Sorceress to guard her stolen power. Fierce beings of frost and snow, they emerged silently, their eyes as empty as the unforgiving landscape. "We must move quickly," the Fae exclaimed, weaving mysteries through the air that danced like colorful smoke around their foes. Illusions cloaked their path, momentarily bewildering the Ice Guardians. Leif pressed on, his mind sharp amidst the bitter cold. Every step felt like a battle against the elements and himself, one more test in his unfolding destiny. In the heart of the heights, they reached an ethereal ice cave where the gale shard awaited, suspended in midair, spinning gently with an inner tempest. The winds conjured a haunting melody as they swirled about, bestowing both tranquility and chaos. The phoenix flared its wings invitingly. "Reach within and claim the gale, Leif. Your courage is as wind-carved as these peaks." Leif approached cautiously, reaching out with anticipation. As his fingers brushed the gale shard, the winds screamed in recognition. A whirlwind enveloped the cavern, frothing with latent power. "Believe in yourself," the Fae whispered, eyes bright with encouragement. "The wind seeks a home as much as you do." Channeling its wild energy, Leif felt the winds surge into the crown, their chill replaced by an invigorating force that permeated his senses. For the first time, he understood what it meant to command the elements, fighting with them, not against. The Guardians, sensing their prize lost, retreated into the storm, dissipating with the gale's fury now weakened. With the artifact in hand and the path behind clear, Leif and his allies descended from the heights, buoyed by the gift of air. They forged toward the horizon, bound together by a shared purpose, as the mounting stakes drove them onward into a future unwritten, yet full of promise. The power of fire, earth, and air now entangled within the crown's mysterious weave, Leif and his companions journeyed to the Heartlands, where rolling hills met the ancient tides of the aqueous sea. Beneath its frothy waves lingered the final elemental token, the tidal pearl, an artifact brimming with the water's whispering strength. The shoreline was both captivating and daunting, with waves crashing rhythmically against jagged rocks. Each wave surged with whispers of the past and the quiet promise of the future. "Control the sea, and you master the unseen depths," the phoenix remarked, its eyes fixed on the horizon. "The tidal pearl lies below, but danger lurks within its embrace." The Fae edged closer to Leif, a glimmer in their eyes reflecting both concern and amusement. "Water is a mirror. It sees the truth and its reflection. Do not waver in your purpose, or it may sweep you under." Determined, Leif stepped closer to the edge, feeling the salt air invigorate him. Trusting the crown to guide him, he submerged himself beneath the waves, a luminous trail from the crown casting an ethereal light around him. Beneath the surface, the world transformed, teeming with vibrant corals, skittish schools of fish, and the murmur of the sea itself. The tidal pearl glowed tantalizingly within a cavern, its pale light beckoning him amidst the swirling currents. But the sorceress's touch was felt even here. Malevolent sea hags with eyes of molten silver guarded the artifact, their forms fluid and ghostly. Leif, shivering with trepidation, silently reached out to the elemental bond fostering courage within. "The current flows through you now," he murmured, eyes fixed on the pearl beyond the creature's wake. Twisting gracefully, the phoenix navigated the water with ease, distracting the hags with flickers of shimmering light, while the Fae conjured illusions above the surface to bewilder and stall them further. Summoning an inner reserve of calm, Leif advanced towards the pearl. He could feel the water's presence intermingling with the crown, offering protection and unity as one. His hand grasped the pearl, feeling an immense pull and the sea's timeless wisdom embedding itself within his psyche. The sea quaked in response, waves flattening, and the hags dissolved into sea foam as the tidal pearl relinquished its guardians. Buoyant, Leif surfaced, greeted by cheering winds and a burgeoning daylight that bore witness to his triumph. Back on the rocky shores, the phoenix and the Fae hailed his success, their bond stronger for the manifold trials faced together. "With the pearl we hold the tide's call and answer," the Fae declared, their voice ringing with pride. "The crown nears its awakening. Yet, as they beheld the rise of their newfound strength in the element's unity, they could feel the looming shadow of the final confrontation drawing near. With determination steeled anew, the trio set their sights on the Sorceress's keep, the last chapter of their arduous journey waiting just beyond the horizon. The journey to the coronet of valleys and crumbling fortresses was marked by an eerie calm, a silence only broken by Leif's footsteps and the occasional rustle of the Fae's wings. They were headed towards the heart of malevolence, the Sorceress's stronghold, a place of twisted magic and echoing despair. Above them, the sky was overcast with foreboding clouds, the kind that mirrored the gloom in Leif's heart. "We're getting close," the Phoenix remarked, an urgency edging its voice. "Steel yourself for what lies ahead. The Sorceress will not stand idly by." They crested a ridge to overlook a desolate landscape framed by dark, foreboding towers draped in shadow and eerie silence. This was the Sorceress's domain, where echoes of forgotten times lingered. The Fae hovered alongside, tension whetting their usual mirth. "I relished each moment of mischief shared with you both, but it seems our game is at an end. The real challenges await." Leif nodded, understanding the weight of what loomed over them. "It's time we confront her," he said resolutely, feeling the crown's power centered in his grip. In the gathering dusk, they approached the keep, its looming gates twisted with iron vines and enchantments that glimmered ominously. The air thickened with magic, eager to induce fear. "We'll draw their ire," the Phoenix stated with a spark of defiance. "Remember, strength resides within you, more than merely the crown. Lead with your heart. The Sorceress's downfall is driven by right, not alone might." A whisper of self-doubt flickered through Leif, but a glance at the Phoenix and the Fae fortified him. "Together we're stronger than any darkness," he affirmed. Ahead of them, figures emerged from the gloom, ghastly guardians of the Sorceress, animated by shadow and spite. The Fae shot forth, a comet of light weaving confusion among them, while the Phoenix blazed with ethereal intensity above, scattering beams of fiery defense. Leif advanced towards the Sorceress's sanctum, each step illuminated by the crown's enduring glow. Within the rising din, he remained focused, feeling the elemental forces entwine around him, fire, earth, air, water, all lending him their strength. As he approached the keep's inner sanctum, shadows roiled and surged around him in one final attempt to dismay. But Leif stood unyielding under their darkened embrace, intent unwavering. Beyond the harrowing gates lay the Sorceress herself, a figure of haughty grace and malice, untouched by time. Her eyes glinted with avarice as they set upon the crown, a slow smile curling her lips. "Ah, the hero arrives," she purred, her voice as dark as the void itself. "Do you know what you face, little herbalist?" Her words hung in the air, charged with wicked anticipation. And yet, within that chamber of darkness, Leif felt a surge of confidence, a profound connection to his companions and the world they vowed to protect. The confrontation awaited, but his heart sang with purpose, echoing a promise that spanned back through time itself. In the heart of the Sorceress's sinister sanctum, darkness loomed heavily, the air vibrating with latent power. Leif stood his ground, feeling the warmth of the crown resonate through his being. Each of his companions was nearby, poised and ready. The Sorceress, cloaked in shadows and command, moved with a predatory grace. Her eyes glowed with an unholy light as she scanned the room, enchanted chains snaking across the chamber walls, whispering curses into the gloom. The Fae, glowing fiercely as a beacon against darkness, whispered soothing words from behind Leif. "Remember, it is her fear that binds her, not power. Listen to the crown, let it guide your heart." The Sorceress laughed, a cruel and lilting sound. "You think to confront me with borrowed ghosts and faded relics? Foolish child!" She raised her arms, drawing shadows to her fingertips, ready to ensnare. But the Phoenix soared above them, a blazing force of defiance. "We are here as one, Sorceress. Your shadows are no match for a heart united with the elements." With a sneer, she unleashed her dark energy, creating a maelstrom of chaos that whipped through the chamber. But the crown pulsed defiantly, the elemental powers unmatched in their synergy, surrounding Leif with a protective barrier of unified strength. "It's time," Leif shouted, his voice cutting through the tumult like a guiding star, command inherent in the simplicity of his humanity. Responding to his call, the crown ignited in a burst of spectral fire. each element converging in a radiant display. The flaming tendrils of the phoenix, the grounding force of the earth from the Fae, the breath of the gale, and the steadfast calm of the ocean merged flawlessly into a sphere of light. The sorceress faltered, her shadows faltering as the light expanded, casting beams into the deepest recesses of the sanctum, obliterating the dark shroud she had long worn like a second skin. "What is this?" she cried, disbelief mingling with awe as the essence of the elements swirled around her like an unstoppable crescendo. "You cannot defeat me!" Leif stepped forward, the crown a luminous beacon balanced upon his brow. His voice was calm yet resolute. "I do not seek to defeat you with power, but with renewal." The words hung around them, infused with an undeniable truth. Power meant nothing without heart, without the balance of understanding and compassion. At that moment, the sorceress saw herself reflected, a being untouched, shrouded in fear. The light intensified and the sanctum's shadows splintered, thrown open to show vibrant colors once hidden. And for a moment the sorceress's defiance wavered, softened by the humility of a world she could not subdue. This was not the tale's end, but a pivotal turn, where a simple herbalist stood against darkness, armed with nothing more profound than belief in the bond shared with his allies and the ancient magic that predicated harmony above all else. As the radiant force of the crown filled the chamber, shadows scattered like leaves caught in a gale. The sorceress, who once thrived on darkness, now stood vulnerable amid the unexpected brilliance. Her defiance wavered, a fleeting glimmer of humanity breaking through the malevolent facade. The Fae, ever perceptive, seized this moment of clarity. Hovering just above the floor, they reached out with light bordering on compassion. "All you have done," they said softly, "was birthed from fear. But there is no true solace in its hollow embrace." The words echoed, hanging in the space between hope and despair, as the sorceress's eyes met theirs, clouded by a lifetime ambition stripped bare. Her voice was a whisper, laced with weariness. "I sought control, an end to chaos." "Control can cloud sight, transforming hope into darkness," the phoenix added with a voice both sage and gentle. "But grace lies in choosing balance and renewal, not dominion." Leif stepped forward, the crown glowing anew with the promise of restoration. In his heart, he knew that change required more than a battle won. It required understanding, a willingness to embrace what lay hidden in shadow until now. "This realm needs harmony, not dominion," he said, measured and sincere. "Join us in healing, not in fear, but as part of its tapestry." For a moment, her hardened exterior melted, revealing a flicker, a seed of possibility. She took a hesitant step forward, the chamber resonating with the power of forgiveness and renewal. The elemental energy swirling around Leif surged, each thread of fire, earth, air, and water woven through the room, invigorating the very walls as if reconciling with past transgressions carved in stone. And as the sorceress finally surrendered her will to the circle of light, the crown responded, pulsating with a final, transformative wave of energy that engulfed the chamber and beyond. The fortress walls shimmered, banishing shadows and replacing fear with a serene light that spoke to all elements' integration. The land beyond the keep reacted in kind, colors bursting forth into the fading dusk, a testament to rebirth. The villages and forests touched by darkness breathed freely once more, covered by the lush, underlying beauty first marred by fear. In this, the final tapestry woven from their struggles and successes, stood Leif, flanked by his stalwart allies, a once rebellious phoenix, and a once misanthropic Fae now kin in purpose. They looked out upon the land they had saved, each heart swelling with triumph not solely from their victory over darkness, but from understanding and growth. Here, where enemies once clashed, birthed friendship and wisdom. As the moon rose high above the realm, bathed in the newfound peace, Leif knew their tale was not an end, but a new beginning. As protector, as friend, he stood a hero born not from power alone, but the unified spirit that dwelled within himself and those he had come to call companions. The realm had found its balance once more through bravery, unity, and the timeless embrace of the elements, a harmonious chorus echoing softly into the night.